Hello everyone, Epsy here. Today I'm going to be talking about Anthem, and I have mixed feelings about this game. So if you are unaware, Anthem is the new title that Bioware has been working on directly after or even during Mass Effect 3. And it appears to be described as a science fantasy loot shooter with RPG elements, which sounds a lot like Destiny. Within Anthem, you and your friends are known as freelancers, and you are the heroes who venture outside of Fort Tarsus to do stuff. It appears this fort is part of some colony of humans on a yet unnamed planet, which may or may not be Earth in the far future, but kinda doubt it. So let's talk about the trailer. It's very pretty. The game looks very pretty. Holy shit, is it pretty. Oh my god. But I would like to really talk about the differences between the opening and then the actual exploration phase of the trailer. There appears to be a difference in the graphical fidelity between the opening cinematic, where you're given quests and introduced to the fort and then jump into your suit, and the actual exploration phase where you're playing the game. I thought this was interesting. It could mean a couple things. One, that the hub zone is not complete and this was just a tech demo for the game, which wouldn't make sense because then they show gameplay directly after this. Or two, there is no hub area and the setup phase, as I'm calling it, is just a fully rendered cinematic where you pick up information and quests and maybe choose your suit. I am hoping it is the former because I feel like doing the latter would be very difficult and would make the game very linear. I also want a space where I can store all of my suits and just check them out because fuck yeah. On that subject, as a freelancer, your most important piece of kit is your exosuits, which come in various flavors, all with unique attributes and abilities, and fit different roles within the game. So unlike Destiny, where you choose your class at the beginning of the game and have to start a new character to try a new one, in Anthem, your class and role is dependent on the armor you're wearing that day, which is a very player-friendly and intuitive model. Suits, according to the trailer, can also be upgraded for different purposes. Also, you can fly, which is easily the coolest thing in this trailer, period. I also enjoyed this transition right here, where you have the setup phase directly connected to the environment of the exploration phase. That is wonderful for keeping immersion. Comparing against Destiny again, where you have to go through various menus and wait through several loading screens to get to where you want. This model again seems more refined and player-friendly. Now it looks like the game will be focusing on the exploration of their large open world they've created, which is filled with hungry, monstrous wildlife, as well as some hostile aliens. More flying, oh my god. I mean, the sense of movement in this game is brilliant. Swimming now even, oh my god, underwater environments. So yeah, you appear to be in conflict with some kind of alien life form that's also on this planet. Not much information is given other than they want to shoot you, so you want to shoot them back. So much depth! There also appears to be some kind of dungeon space called the Longfall Ruins in the trailer, which is exciting. I'm hoping there's going to be, you know, several of those. Is that crafting materials I see? Large-scale world events are also a thing, something called Shaper Storms and other such things, which will apparently pull you off the beaten path or just get in the way, I guess. Which will have an interesting dynamic against the exploration of the game. And they don't say anything, but with the new players spawn in, which is impressive, like they spawn next to you in the game, and I really hope that's a thing that remains, because Destiny promised that, and it didn't happen! It appears as though they were rewarded with different buffs based on the different suits they were wearing, which makes exploring together much safer than exploring alone, especially when you're trying to take on, I guess, a storm. Speaking of which, I'm hoping these Shaper Storms or these huge events are some kind of like mini raid or something. That would really impress me. But apart from that, that's all they showed us. They didn't show anything about the story or what you're doing as a player or what planet you're on and why, or why you're fighting these aliens. So the depth of this game is really just in limbo right now, which worries me a lot. I mean, game looks fun and all. It looks like it'll be lots of fun to play, but will I be captured by it? Will I be drawn to it? Will it be engaging apart from the loot grind that they're gonna have inevitably? Because that won't grip me. I need some kind of story or some kind of compulsion to play, to care about the world, to grab me apart from getting better numbers on my weapons. Especially this dynamic we have with these aliens called the Scar, I guess. Like, I need a real reason to be fighting them, and they better be interesting. They better not just be like a boogeyman or frickin' gremlins we have to fight off occasionally. They better have a point and purpose. Like, did we come to their planet and colonize without their permission and are stealing your resources? Because that would make me feel very engaged in the story. Anything that questions my motivations or why we are here or if I'm the good guy is good in my book. I also want to talk about these pants. Now I know it's such a small thing, but things like this break my immersion when they happen. If you're wearing a suit like this that is so articulated and like basically skin tight, you should not ever be wearing pants with this much padding. Like, there's no room to move. And like, imagine if you had an itch or something, or if you put the bindings on incorrectly and you're cutting off circulation. You can't exactly get out of those suits easily, especially in the field and in a hostile area. Also, the exosuits have these pseudo-digigrade legs, which would eventually cause atrophy in various ligaments and muscles of the freelancer, which is just... why would you design them like that? Alright, I digress about the pantsuit. So, the game looks like it has a very impressive stand on the power fantasy, and it appears to do it very well. Watching it, I felt powerful. So I can only imagine how it feels to play it, especially with that movement. Just the movement gets me. It defies our terrestrial existence, our very limited ability to move freely in a space. And I get this huge, overwhelming sense of freedom from the speed, from the ability to jump gigantic distances, to the flying. The flying is brilliant, and the jetting through the water. And I have this fearless ambition for exploration based on all of this, which plays very powerfully into the idea of a superhuman power fantasy. And that is what captured me about Anthem, that spectacle of it, the idea that I could feel that incredible even in a virtual environment. But all of that will be for naught if it doesn't have the depth. Like, the fantasy existed within Destiny, but the game lacked the depth. The story was unrefined, unfinished, and just made the game feel empty, like your power didn't mean anything. Whereas in a game like Bloodborne, which is my favorite game of all time, you were meant to feel small and insignificant against these literal gods in the game, but you were completely capable of defeating them even if you are the weakest character at the lowest level if you are skilled enough. And that facing and defeating a challenge against insurmountable odds is a power fantasy in and of itself. Additionally, early on in the game, you're terrified of everything, and you feel like you're terrible, but as the game goes on, you get better and better and start defeating things more, and you become less afraid. I remember facing the first boss, the Cleric Beast, and dying several times to it, and then facing some of the final bosses, which were difficult for most people, and either defeating them the first or second try. Further, I was never intimidated by them. I never shied away. I would face them headlong, full well knowing what they were, convinced I would win. And that is a sense of real power and strength because you earned it. You built it and cultivated it yourself. So, in a game like Anthem, where you already have that power fantasy fulfilled, how are they going to make you feel small? How are they going to make you feel like you're growing apart from numbers? How are they going to make me feel that I can still win even when my armor's out of power and I'm backed against the wall? Alright, so this game is in pre-alpha still, so, you know, it's still in development, so I'm just judging it based on the trailer that we've been given. Please leave your comments down below if you agree with me or disagree. Regardless, have a civil discussion, please. I've been Epsy, and I will see you next time.